If you cannot exercise your democratic rights for fear that the state will drop the hammer on you and ruin you financially, that's a state you don't want to be a part of. And I also have noted that some of the locations where independence events are booked are being canceled last minute. And I'm not saying in the small towns, but in the big cities, the progressive hellscapes of Edmonton and to some extent Calgary, they're canceling these independence events where they've booked in advance. Everybody knows why they're going to be there. Everybody knows why Chris Scott's going to be there. And then they cancel them sort of last minute, which does have, again, a chilling effect on the signature collection.
Yes, and it shows a fear of free political expression, and a fear that once people are exposed to the advantages of independence and the disadvantages and the very dark path that Canada's on, and the option for us, our children and our grandchildren, to free ourselves from that dark future, they get worried that more and more people will get on board. You know, one of the things that I wanted to clarify, Sheila, is we need to keep in mind, we don't know what's going to happen with the court case that a few of the First Nations have brought. And it's only, I think, 3 First Nations chiefs. The number of First Nations canvassers in support of independence, the number of First Nations that have come forward and made tea to sign and express their serious concern about the hundreds of thousands of dollars that these few chiefs are spending on lawyers instead of helping their people to fight this petition is remarkable. But I don't know what the court's going to do. I don't think there's a good legal factual basis. I've talked about this many times. There's no threat to the treaties. The 1930 Natural Resources Transfer Agreement demonstrates that another level of government can step in and take over treaty responsibilities. The treaties themselves aren't just with the Crown. It says with His Majesty the King and all successors and assigns. So it always suggested that the federal government could hand off treaty responsibilities to another entity, another level of government, or a new government. In any event, what if the court does come up with some very, what I would call, strange decision and stop or somehow wipe out the signature collection process by Stay Free Alberta? The reason I'm not overly concerned about that, I'd be disappointed and find it troubling, but the reason I'm not concerned about it is because Thomas Lukasik was successful.
Right. Thank you, Thomas.
Triggering the threshold for a referendum, not a vote in the legislature. He's now trying to get out of this huge self-own that he did. It's brilliant karma. But he's now trying to say, oh, I just wanted a vote in the legislature. No, you didn't. I put up on the social media, and others have, his actual application form. It uses the word referendum twice, and it says, by signing this petition, I'm calling on the Alberta government to hold a referendum on whether Alberta should stay or leave Canada. That's an independence succession referendum. So the Premier already has a mandate to hold, in my view, a referendum in the fall. And some people have said, oh, well, then they're going to have to use his wording. That's not true. The reason it's not true legally is the wording for the referendum on independence in October will be determined by the Alberta government's cabinet under the Referendum Act. Right. So the Citizens Initiative Act provides a mechanism to flag to the government, the provincial government, saying, hey, this is an issue. This is the issue, this issue that's important to us. We want you to put it on a referendum. And here's how we, the citizens, would frame the question. But there's a different legal obligation on the cabinet under the Referendum Act to consider constitutional principles and other things when selecting the wording of the question. So the ultimate party who determines the wording of the question is the cabinet, and they're not directly bound by the wording of the question from the petitioners. So the Smith government will have to review what question they put on the ballot for independence. And I think they should pick a form of question that's as compliant as possible with the Supreme Court of Canada's decision and the Clarity Act, which is a question very similar to which Stay Free Alberta's question is. So I am not losing any sleep over these things. I think the important task is for us to continue to talk as Albertans about the dangers of staying in Canada for our kids and our grandkids, and the advantages of becoming independent and the viability of that path.
Right. And for people who are on the fence, maybe you don't believe in a Alberta utopia. This is your chance to stick it to Mark Carney and tell him to go F himself. Like, this is your one chance to do this for a generation, to send a message to the Laurentian elites that we don't agree with what they've done to what was left of this beautiful country in the last 11 years. And man, I'm just so excited to cheer for Thomas Lukaszik's hapless buffoonery. It's just wonderful. Just moving on to what happens next. So we've got the petition signatures. Let's say they clear the bar for entry to the referendum. What happens next? So instead of signatures shift into active campaigning, what are we going to see? What is that going to look like?
Well, the official campaign period won't begin until the cabinet issues an order under the Referendum Act setting the question. And that's obviously going to take some time. And in the meantime, it's just a normal democracy, political free expression and advocacy. And anybody with a view on any topic is free to express it, is free to open up a website to talk about it, is free to put up a billboard to advocate their view, or do whatever they do, hold town hall meetings and so on. So I think you're going to continue to see lots of different groups, because there's several out there. And there's new ones popping up all the time that will continue to try and inform people about the advantages of independence and its viability, and the dangers of staying in Canada. And I think that you're going to see that ramp up.